Hey there, book lovers. I'm Haley.
And I'm McCayleigh. Welcome to Two Chicks and a Plot Twist,
The official podcast for the Facebook group, All Things Book Related.
We're two besties who are here to share our love for unforgettable characters, unpredictable storylines, and the books we just can't put down.
From our all-time favorites to the latest releases, we're bringing you deep dives, hot takes, and maybe a little friendly disagreement.
So grab your favorite read and let's get ready for some bookish fun.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to Two Chicks and a Plot Twist. We are so glad that you're here with us today. We have got a super fun episode planned for you guys.
Yes! Today we're talking about the books that we absolutely want to read this year.
That's right, and we're also talking about our reading goals, like how many books we want to read this year, and if we're going to explore any new genres.
Yes, we can't wait for you guys to hear our thoughts, but before we kick things off, Haley, how have you been?
I have been good. You know, Christmas is kind of a blur, and then New Year's was a blur. I have just been working away. I'm still doing my wintermester, the worst thing ever. If you've been with us for a while, I have been complaining about it every single episode. I'm still in it. This is my last week, so I'm almost there. The only thing I have left is my final exam, so I'm going to take that this week.
Oh my god.
I started writing my first book. So I've got the first chapter and a half done, and then my boyfriend Edgar was like, this is good, but what if you did this? So now I'm rewriting it. I was like, this is why I have you. You're so creative.
Yes, no, I love that. But it's never going to be perfect either. Even after you're done, you're going to be like, oh, well, what if I did this or this or this? And then you're never going to finish. So you're probably going to do it about 20 more times too. You're going to rewrite it over and over. Anything else?
That's it. But I know your life has been crazy. I am on the edge of my seat waiting for you to tell everyone.
Yeah, so
tell us.
Yes, I got engaged, guys. I'm so excited. My ring, I love it.
Yes.
We went to Mexico for almost a week, and Christian popped the question there, and I did not suspect a thing. He was taking me around a cliff, and we were supposed to be looking for a photographer. I thought we were taking family photos, with my family. We went to some cliff's edge, and there was a dead end, and I was like, Christian, our photographer is not over here. And I was just so mad, and I turned and started to leave, and he grabbed me and just took all of my stuff that I was carrying and threw it into a bush. And our photographer was hiding above us, and
wow.
So that was kind of wild, and then he popped the question, but it was such a blur. My brain was wait, what's happening? Where's our photographer? I was still
You're mad. You're you're taking me the wrong place.
and he just started talking about how much he loves me, and I was like, why are you saying this? We gotta go find our photographer, bro. And then he reached for the ring, and I was like, stop, what are you doing? We have to go find this photographer. I was set on finding this photographer.
You're looking around everywhere.
Yeah, so anyways, I let him ask me finally, and then I said yes, and then my parents come out, and then my brother, and it was crazy, but I loved it.
Yay.
Yeah, if he hadn't proposed, I would have been very angry for the rest of that day, I think, if that wasn't the plan, because hunting that photographer down really, stirred the pot for me. I was so set on finding that stupid photographer. But we got our photos, yesterday, and they were so good. I love them.
They are so good. They are really good.
I am obsessed with them. I just want to, blow every single one of those photos up and just, put them on the wall in my house, and very pumped, but
yes. I'm so excited for you.
Thank you. Oh my god, and I've been coughing just nonstop ever since we got back to Texas, and I think it's just the difference in pollen or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm so excited. Okay.
I'm so happy for you.
Thank
you texted me, Edgar and I were eating dinner. I said, oh, McCayleigh texted me, let me go see it. And he said, okay. So he got on his phone too, and I was going to see it. He's at the same time we both said, oh my god, they got engaged, because he saw on Facebook. I was like, oh, I'm so happy.
Oh my god, I love that. Yeah, that was crazy.
Did you do any reading while you were there? I'm sure you did it, because
a lot happened.
With Christian.
I know, a lot happened. I brought 4 books with me, expecting, to finish some. And we went to the beach, we were on a boat, and I did spend a lot of time reading, mostly on the plane to and from Mexico. And I almost have finished The Silent Patient, which
that's a good one.
yeah, I am really into that. I only have a few more pages left. I've just been
Wow.
stalling, or I guess, I don't know. But aside from that, I have been listening to the graphic audio version of Blood and Ash, and I just really haven't finished that one. I feel like I've been doing too much to like actually put AirPods in and like listen. But
Well, the thing is
yeah.
also, guys, at the time of us recording, it's January 5th, so we're only 5 days
Yes.
into January, so we haven't really read that much.
Yes, it's not been a lot, and like so much has been going on. Holidays and everything
Yeah.
have been taking up a lot of time, but
Yeah.
now that's all gone. We're moving in, I guess Valentine's Day is our next big, event. But
Yeah.
what about you? What are your like recently read books?
Okay, guys, I read Manacled. If you don't know what Manacled is, look it up. It is my new favorite book. I will never stop talking about it. It's a Draco and Hermione fanfiction. Don't laugh, but it was so good. I don't read fanfiction ever, but it was leaving the website it was on at the end of the year, and it has so many good reviews on Goodreads. So everyone was like, read it, download it before the year ends because the author's taking it down and she's traditionally publishing it. It was so good. It's like,
Oh my gosh.
it was so good. It's like The Handmaid's Tale meets Harry Potter. It was so sad. I cried like a million times, but so good.
Oh my god, I knew you would
Please
love
read
it.
it.
I knew you would love it. I was surprised when you hadn't already read it. Like
Yeah, me too.
a long time ago. I was like,
I'm so mad at myself that I didn't read it so long ago. Like one night, I stayed up reading it until 4 a.m. I was like,
good.
I was crying every couple pages. Like, I couldn't fall asleep. I kept thinking about this book. So I was like, okay, I've got to, like, keep reading. I've got to keep reading. It was so good.
Wow.
But besides that, I read a really short mystery novella called The Champagne Toast. It was a cute little read. I just listened to it on Audible. And then I just started another Draco Hermione fanfiction. I am in my Harry Potter fanfiction era.
Oh my god, it's gonna
And
keep going.
I hope I never leave. It's so good.
I love that.
And I also started Red Queen today. I'm only like 20 pages in, so if you don't know, that's the one that everyone's saying the Powerless series is very similar to that one. And the Red Queen series came out like almost a decade ago. So I started it, and the similarities are kind of crazy.
I was gonna ask, like,
It's crazy how, especially, I don't remember Peyton's friend, whatever her name was.
Adina
she was
or something.
Adina. She was
Something.
a seamstress. The girl that's in this book, her sister, is also a seamstress, and they have the exact, like, the first chapter is so similar to the first chapter of Powerless. It's crazy. So, and I think that I've read the first book before, like maybe in middle school,
Or you-
because it started
what?
like bringing back all these memories. So maybe I read it, maybe I haven't, but it is crazy how similar it is.
That
like
is so
insane.
weird. Like, I was
Yeah.
thinking, okay, the world building would be the same, sure, but the characters, what?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, it's
crazy.
crazy.
Part of me is like, okay, maybe Lauren Roberts might have read it or forgot she read it too.
Yeah.
And then it
yeah.
came to her in a dream years and years later.
Yeah. yeah.
Like I can totally see that happening. And I mean, people reuse like, music and
Yeah,
stuff all the
yeah.
time. So I'm like, I bet maybe something like that happened. And
I'm sure. I'm not saying that she copied it at all. I'm just
no.
saying that it is so similar. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, and
But I'm only like 20 pages in. So,
wow.
I mean, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, but who knows? They might have ended up having the same exact idea, which is crazy. Because, I mean,
Yeah.
ideas are endless, so it's totally possible. Dang.
Yeah.
Wow.
But
Real quick, I went to Target today.
Oh my
And
gosh, Target.
I think like 2 episodes ago, we talked about like the Frog and Toad, Mr. Frog, or Miss Frog and Mr.
yes.
Toad.
Yes,
Dude,
yes.
check out my shirt. It says, "We must stop eating," cried Toad as he ate another, and they're eating like a bowl of cookies. And when I saw it, I was like, wait, I have to get it and wear my shirt for the podcast.
That's so cute.
Gosh, but no, those are like my favorite books growing up. Like in elementary school, I like read every single one in our elementary school library.
Yes.
But yeah, anyways, I had to show you. I was like, oh my god,
I love it.
I need to show Haley.
Now, guys, we are going to be doing these little quizzes every single episode. So I've got McCayleigh this time, it's going to be an open-ended quiz. It's going to be the same one that we did last episode if you're here with us, where we talked about our books for 2024. So they're just open-ended questions.
Like,
no personality quiz, nothing like that.
No, I understand how you feel now, because when I was like, I was reading our episode notes earlier today, and I was like, my heart kind of dropped into my stomach. Like, I don't remember anything I've read. I feel like I'm gonna have to like pull up, which I am doing right now. I'm pulling up my Goodreads. And I need to have it ready. I hope I remember what every book was about. So, but when you answered your questions on that last episode, or 2 episodes ago, whichever it was, you did so good. I was like, how does she have this excellent memory? You answered so quick.
I had my Goodreads pulled up, and I'm looking at the books behind me. I'm looking at it in my little picture I can see. I'm like, okay, what did I read this year?
Oh my gosh. Well, I hope I have all the important ones on display. I think I do. So, we'll see.
Okay. Let's see. So the first one, who was your favorite book boyfriend for 2024? Like, from what book?
Oh, Reese. Obviously.
You read that last year? In 2024?
February was book club. I was still finishing A Court of Thorns and Roses, that whole series. So, heck yeah. Wait, I was just finishing. So, he counts. For me, anyway.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, of course.
Yes. So, what book from 2024 made you laugh the hardest?
Ooh. Funny Story by Emily Henry. I loved that one. That one or Butcher and Blackbird. I liked both of those, and they were both making me like, no way, like, actually snicker out loud. I was like, wait, what? I wish someone was there, like, to laugh with about it. Like, those books, I'm like, okay, that's funny. So definitely those.
Let's see. Do you have a favorite fictional character from last year?
Well, there's so many. How do you just pick one?
Right. I know, right?
Oh my god. Well, I mean, I could say most of the main characters from Throne of Glass, which would be very appropriate for today's episode. Or is that next episode?
That's next episode.
Okay, never mind. I'm gonna cut that out. I could say, I filled out both of our notes today, and I'm like, they're all like crossing for me. I'm like, wait, which episode are we doing today? Anyways, I could easily say any of the characters from like Throne of Glass, most from ACOTAR. I mean, because those were like ACOTAR was what really got me into reading. So I feel like they deserve to be the characters, I guess, that, I loved the most out of this year. So let's go with Feyre, because I feel like she was easy to resonate with. She's pretty girly in a sense of, I feel like I can relate to Feyre more than I can Aelin, because I'm not about to get punched in the face. Like, Aelin, I feel like can deal with that, and Feyre can deal with it, but I feel like she's gonna react the same way I would, which is cry and run away. Maybe.
Feyre is also very, like, creative, so I can definitely, that's you for sure.
Thank you. I mean, I can read, so we got that difference.
Oh no.
But yeah, I mean, I like her personality. I feel like I resonate with her personality more than I do Aelin's. So we will go with her.
And then last question, if you could live in any book from 2024, which would it be?
Prythian. Yeah, of course. We're just ACOTARing this all the way through.
Do you have, like, a certain court you would want to be in?
I gotta remember what the courts are. So, I don't know, one of the cold ones, which...
Autumn is probably cold.
But they scare me. I'm scared of them. The people in charge, I'm scared of them. But not spring. I feel like Tamlin just ruined that for me.
Well, there's a winter court. I forgot about that. Summer, autumn, winter, spring, night court, day court, and dawn court.
So winter. I would totally do winter. I'm like, Christmas year round? Heck yeah. Like, I'm putting my tree up.
No, because
it's never coming down if it's snowing.
It is so cold here. This morning, it said it was 20 degrees, but it felt like -1 because of how windy it was.
Oh my god.
Yes, and poor Callie, Callie's our dog, she was like scratching at the door, and I'm like, what's going on? Because I didn't go outside. I was like, oh crap, it's really cold. I felt so bad for her. She was like, let me in, let me in.
I don't blame her. My dogs are like so high maintenance. Chewy, he's like a couch dog all the time, and he won't step in the grass unless you go
Aw.
pick him up and put him in the grass. So unless you make him, he won't. So like he prefers the concrete sidewalks always, you
Aw,
know. So like
Chewy.
cold weather, no. Rain, he won't go in it. Like he refuses all that. So I understand. I feel that.
Yeah.
Poor dogs. They're our babies.
So, yeah. Let's jump into kind of the meat of today's episode. So, do you have any personal reading goals for this year?
Yeah, so originally I told myself, since I read like 60 something books in 2024, that I would set my goal higher to like 70. And to me,
Yeah.
that made sense logically. Like, oh, let me see if I can beat it. But then I got engaged, and that on top
Yeah.
of, planning a wedding now and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I really thought about it, and I'm a maid of honor for one of my friends, and now my brother's engaged, and now he has a wedding that I'm probably going to help with. So
You're busy.
a little bit. And then Isle of Lies and Legends is releasing this year. So
Oh my gosh.
I figured, let me not focus on reading more books than I did this year. So I've set mine to 50. Hopefully I can reach it, but we will see.
Yeah.
I think with the podcast and everything that we're doing, I think I will. Yeah, but what about you?
I set mine for 50 also, and basically for the same reasons. I am graduating this year in May, and I really want to focus more on the podcast, and I want to focus on our social media content, and I just really want to focus on quality over quantity when it comes to books. Last year, same thing. I read like 60-ish books, so I was like, oh, maybe I'll try for 70, but I'm just like, I'm so busy.
Yeah.
And I don't want to push myself into reading books that I just don't enjoy. So I really just want to make it a goal this year to read books that, really catch my eye, and books that I think I'll actually be interested in.
No, I like that. Because, when I first got back into reading, too, I was like, how fast can I finish this book, Like, why does it have to be a race? And then, finally, I got out of that mindset. But, it was so hard to come out of. And I don't know why that's a thing. I wish I knew the psychology behind that, because it's like maybe a flex, maybe? And, how many books can I read?
So, now, guys, we put up a poll on our Instagram, just wanting to see how many books our followers are thinking of reading for 2025. We just did the percentages. Y'all are some crazy readers on here also, because 62% of y'all said that you want to read 50 books or more. So we've got some serious readers.
Yes.
On the pod.
That is crazy. Well, good for you guys. 62%. And then 14% said 36 to 45. 10% 25 to 35. And then 14% 10 to 25. So, majority of you guys, 50 books or more. Props to you. That is amazing.
I know.
Wow.
It's so fun, throwing these polls up on here, because I love seeing what everyone has to say.
Yeah.
It's like our new little friends in the pod. I'm so happy. Also, I don't know if you saw, we are almost at 2,000 followers on our Instagram. We are so close. So if you aren't following us already, go ahead and do so. It's on Instagram at 2 Chicks and a Plot Twist. We post on there probably 2 times a day. And we're always active in our stories, so go check it out.
Yes,
we've got giveaways. We do giveaways all the time, so make sure to go visit us over there.
Yes, and we have a giveaway ending here pretty soon, so you can go ahead and enter that one before it ends. I believe it's January 15th, I think. Mm-hmm. So, go ahead, enter, and maybe you'll win. You might get a free book, so we love that. But, we love socializing with you guys and all your comments and engagement. It's amazing. So keep sharing with us. And when you watch our podcast and share it with us, we love seeing that. We got a few of those the other day, but we appreciate you guys so much. So thank you for helping us get this far. Our popularity in the podcast has grown so much. We are almost, we're approaching 200 streams, and we haven't even been a podcast. We haven't even existed for 3 months, 2 months,
3 months, yeah,
somewhere between
like
2 and
that.
3, which is crazy for someone, us,
Yeah.
who's never
Yeah.
podcasted or any of this before.
We were like, we'll do this like for us,
Yeah.
but now it's like for everyone.
Yes,
we're so happy.
We love it so much. So thank you guys.
So McCayleigh, are there any new genres you want to explore this year?
Yeah, so I feel like everything I read 90% of the time is because you've read it and you've reviewed it. I kid you not. Like, oh, we have the same interests. Let me just look at Haley's Goodreads.
Yeah.
And that's how I create my TBR. So when you were reading like Pride and Prejudice, I think I might have mentioned it. I just can imagine the feeling of feeling so cozy and then playing the movie and sitting on the couch and reading that. So like I would like to get into those classics and like Pride and Prejudice. And then also I've kind of been interested in Wuthering Heights. And I think in the Lost Bookshop, Emily Bronte was discussed some, I think, because like her book, Finding It in the stores, that kind of interested me. And then I like kind of Googled Emily Bronte and I was like, oh, okay, I know who this is.
Yes.
But I've never read Wuthering Heights. So I would like to be knowledgeable about these books and like, I want to know. And I'm getting like FOMO now. So I'm like, wait, I need to read it. Like everyone knows these books that are in the book community, I feel. So I'm like, I want to get in on it.
And then Pride and Prejudice is my favorite movie also. So when I study for my classes or if I'm taking like an exam on my computer, 90% of the time I've got Pride and Prejudice just like playing in the background because it's such a beautiful movie. Mr. Darcy, he is like the male character there. I love him so much.
That is so funny. I have watched that movie one time, and then I kind of watched it because originally I was like, this is boring. And then I got into reading, and then everyone talks about how much they love Pride and Prejudice. And I'm like, okay, wait, I should give it a second shot. And then also on Instagram or some news article, I read that the actor who plays Mr. Darcy says he feels like he did such a horrible job at acting in that role and all this stuff, but like no one agrees with him. And I'm like, obviously, everyone loves you. Everyone talks about you like, oh, Mr. Darcy,
Yeah.
So
literally.
I'm like, okay, it actually is a good movie. Like, imagine thinking you did such a terrible job, but it's like actually great. So.
And it's a great book. It's so good. And also Little Women, that's another like historical classic fiction. We talked about that last week. So good. And the movie's so good. I love reading those sort of classic books.
Yeah, when
so good.
You were listing the characters, the actors who play those characters, like Timothée Chalamet and I think Florence Pugh. She's like in Avengers.
Emma Watson.
Yeah, and I was like, oh my god, all these like well-known people are in this movie. So I can't believe I haven't seen this movie. And so I'm going to go watch it.
Yes.
Very soon, and I want to read that book too. So yeah, historical fiction, and then I would like to get into a little more horror genre. Grew up on scary movies. Like I loved scary movies, and so I feel like recently I've been reading thrillers, but I want to do horror. So like there's a different. I want to be scared.
Oh.
So hopefully spooky season is coming up, in October. So by then, around then, I would like to get into my horror stuff. But anyways, what about genres that you would like to get into?
I already read historical fiction. I don't know why, but I want to read it. I guess I want to read more of it. I want to read the Kristen Hanna books. I keep seeing that author all over my feed, and everyone says that they're beautifully written books, but you will cry. So I'm like, I'm ready to get my heart broken. I'm ready for that. And I also want to read like a more mystery novels, like Agatha Christie. She's like the queen of mystery. And I have one here. It's like Murder on the something express, Oriental Express. And that's a movie also. So I want to read it and watch the movie.
Oh my gosh, that's so exciting. What about any new authors? Which I guess, what'd you say, Kristen Hanna? Yeah,
Agatha Christie. The main one for me, though, fantasy author, I want to read Carissa Broadbent. I talked about her last episode or the episode before. She writes fantasy books and I see them all over my feed, and everyone who I talk to that's read them, they're so surprised that I haven't read them because I basically just read fantasy books. So she writes The Serpent and the Wings of Night, and she also has the Daughter of No World series. So want to read those. Also Abby Jimenez. She writes romance books, and I believe she's from Texas, so I'd love to read hers. Pierce Brown, that's like a science fiction series. Red Rising, I think, is what he writes. And then Brandon Sanderson, another like high fantasy book series that I'm surprised I haven't read, but I've heard that it's super immersive, so I'm hoping to like take the time to read his books this year.
Yeah, I also have Brandon Sanderson on my like new author list for
Mm-hmm.
2025, and I see his
Yes.
name on books all the time, like in every
He has
Goodwill,
written
in every
so many
half-price
books.
book. Yes,
Yes.
they are everywhere, and I've
Yeah.
always like known the name. It's almost like I feel like a J.K. Rowling if
Yeah.
Brandon Sanderson had a movie. I bet he would be
Yeah.
on the same platform because he has
Yeah.
just written so many books. But him, I would like to get into, and I feel like I haven't yet because I feel like it's always his books and covers and titles. I've never read a synopsis on the back of one of his books.
Yeah.
But based on the covers and the titles and everything, I've always felt like they were geared towards a male audience. Like, your
Mhm.
stereotypical, like, guy would read this. I don't even know if that's the right way to put
I
it, but
agree.
just like a
Yeah, I
male
agree.
audience. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's never struck me as, oh, there's romance in this book. Let me read it. I
Yeah.
love romantic fantasy and medieval, I love that. But I'm trying to picture myself, okay, if it doesn't have romance in it, will I be able to read it? Because
Yeah.
I mean, Throne of Glass had romance. So if it has that, then I will be good. So I hope
Yeah.
there's a love interest in there, but I'm going to try one of his books. And then I think another person I would like to get into reading, which I haven't read any of her books yet, is Frida McFadden. So
Yeah.
like I see her books all the time too, not quite as often as Brandon Sanderson, but like The Boyfriend and like
The
there's the house,
Housemaid.
or is it the
And
housemaid or is it the maid? I don't know. Is it the housemaid?
Housemaid. Yeah, The Housemaid. I have the first book on my shelf.
Yeah,
I also have
yeah, I
I
have
also
it.
have The Inmate, The Teacher, and The
Yeah,
Coworker.
but to say it's
I
always
haven't
like the something, and I
Yeah.
like want to read, so eventually we'll get to it. So
And that one's getting made into a movie
yeah,
with a bunch of like super high profile celebrities. So I want to
yes,
read the series also before the movies come out.
yes, that's good motivation, if anything. I feel like that's the only reason why I read It Ends With Us was like to prepare for the movie. So I feel like the same
Hmm.
thing's gonna happen. I'm probably not gonna read the book until like I have very little time left to get it done
Yeah,
before
right.
the movie comes out. So I bet that'll
I
happen.
am so immersed in It Ends With Us like drama now. I read all of like the receipts that Justin Baldoni came with, like his lawyers
Oh
had,
my gosh.
and my mind is just spinning. I didn't read the book, I didn't watch the movie. I'm not a big Colleen Hoover fan, but I am so enthralled with this drama. Like,
Wow.
I read about it every day.
I can't believe you still haven't watched the movies. That's
I
insane.
know.
Or the movie.
It's on Netflix, so maybe
Oh
eventually
my
I'll make
gosh.
myself watch it, but
That's crazy. Yeah, Christian is like he's I'm not reading the drama. I'm getting all of my information through Christian. He's like, "Did you hear? Did you hear?" Cuz he loves that movie. We bought that movie for Christian. And yeah,
yeah.
and he's asking me about the second book cuz I read It Starts With Us too. And
Mhm.
he's like, "So, do you think they're going to make the second movie now that like all this is happening?" And I'm like, "I don't know, man.
Yeah.
So, I've said you're just going
Aw.
to have to read the next book, I guess, to know. So,
And then Christian will be like your book boyfriend.
yeah, how
I
nice. I try to get
love.
him into reading. I swear up and down that everyone can be a reader. You don't have to read,
Yes.
50 books a year, just
Yeah.
like find something you're interested in is the hard part,
Yeah.
finding your genre and your niche. And once you find that, then you'll want to read. You'll want to know what happens in the story and
Mhm.
everything. So, anyways, I could preach
Yeah.
about that all day. So, but I won't.
Do you have any specific books or series you want to tackle this year?
Yeah, so I looked into our notes and I saw that you had mentioned The Handmaid's Tale. And I
Yeah.
finished. Did you watch that whole series?
I have the first book and I'm hoping to start that like in February,
Oh my
but
gosh.
I haven't watched the series. I want to read the books first and then watch the
Yeah,
series.
so I watched the series because my friend recommended it to me. And I was mad I hadn't watched it sooner. And I was like, oh, this is so good. And so I also would love to read that book, also because I was
Mhm.
left on a cliffhanger because the last season or something just hasn't come out in,
Oh.
forever. I think it's been like since COVID or something. But I've been like desperately needing an ending for that. I would also like to read Daughter of No Worlds strictly because of the
Yes.
cover. Like, I
Yes.
love the cover of that book, and that I've not even read the synopsis. I don't even know what it's about, but I would love to read it just because of the cover. And then Assistant to the Villain, you loved it. Our
Yes.
friend Ashley loved it, and a few others I've seen have like just talked nonstop. But I've not seen a single like bad thing come from someone I
Yeah.
know about that book. So I would love to
Yeah.
get into that series. And then
Yes.
just a few more. I'd like to finish the From Blood and Ash series and then the Lightlark series just because I have FOMO for that one. I hear a lot of
Yeah.
mixed reviews about Lightlark, and
Yeah.
yeah, I'm just gonna read it because I already read the first book. I feel like I might as well read the last two.
Yeah.
And then Quicksilver is also like famous because of TikTok, and
Yes.
that's by Kelly Hart. I'm really
Mhm.
interested in that one, and I also like the book
And
cover for that. A lot of people don't,
yeah.
but I like it.
And that one's getting made into a movie.
Quicksilver?
So I need to
I
I
did.
need to read that one also. Yeah.
That's
So, and
exciting.
then for me, we have so many like crossovers of what we want to
Mm-hmm.
read. But one, I really want to read and watch Game of Thrones this year. That is like top on my priority. I've got every single book downloaded on my Audible. I just need to start them. So, hoping to start maybe in like February or March. Same thing, I want to read and watch The Handmaid's Tale, the From Blood and Ash series. I've had the first two books on my shelf for like 3 years, and I don't know why, I just haven't read them. And then, same thing, The War of Lost Hearts. That is. Wait, what is The War of Lost Hearts? Hold on. Sometimes I just be putting things. I'm like, what the heck is that? What is that?
That was
The
funny.
world the War of Lost Heart series is like the title of the Daughter of No Worlds, so that's like the title of the series. That's what it is.
That was funny.
I'm like, I'm just putting stuff on the list I don't
Oh my
even know.
god, that's hilarious. Yeah,
But we just have so much crossover, so we're
no.
just gonna be reading the same books all year.
Well, I mean, it makes for better podcast discussions, so I
Yes,
love it. And then as for Game of Thrones, I'm so excited for you. I
I
had I
am
had
too.
finally convinced my dad to watch Game of Thrones, and he
Yeah.
finished it like within a month.
Oh
Like all,
wow.
I think it's 8 seasons. I think it's 8 seasons long, but it's a lot of. It's like each episode is an hour, and there's like a lot of episodes. But it
Mhm.
was so good. He was so
Yeah.
hooked, and I told him to watch it like 2 years ago, and finally
Yeah.
he did, just like on his own. And he was like, "I watched it." Oh, and you loved it, didn't you? He's like, "Yeah, I loved it." Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my dad has been telling me since it came out. I think I watched like the first season with my parents, and I was like, this is weird to be watching with my parents. And
No,
I was
don't
like,
watch it with
really,
your
I
parents.
was really scared also. So I was like, okay, I'm kind of done with this. So he's like, oh, you need to listen to it. You need to listen to it. So he bought all the books on Audible, and he read them like 2 or 3 years ago, and he's like, they're on my Audible, just download them onto yours. So I've got them all for free. My dad paid for them.
What?
They're usually like $40 like on Audible. Why are audiobooks so
I
expensive?
know, yeah. That's when that Audible membership for like $9.99 a month is
Yeah,
handy
honestly.
because that's the only time I like do it. Is like, oh, let me get this book, and then I'm like, oh well, I don't want to
Yeah.
spend $40, so let me spend 10
Right, and I make sure to use my Audible credit on something that's super
more. I
expensive.
do too.
Yes, because if there's a book that's like $10, I'm like, I am not wasting my credit on this. I
Yes.
will find a book that's so expensive.
My God, no, I agree. And then like Cyber Monday and like Black Friday, whenever that time of year rolls around, I like stock up on so many books because a lot of them are like $4 and $5. Like,
Yeah.
screw the credits. Like, I'm buying them, with my
Yeah.
money. But I get it. I love audiobooks. I'm an audiobook girl. And now let's go ahead and get into new releases that we want to read. That's very exciting. Are there any on your
Yes.
list that you're kind of waiting for?
There are so many. There's so many unfinished fantasy books that McCayleigh and I really are both reading right now. Onyx Storm, that's the third book in the Fourth Wing series. It's coming out the end of this month, at the end of January. I have had that book pre-ordered for months. I am fingers crossed, hoping that it gets here the day of, because if it doesn't, I'm going to like freak out, and I'll probably like download it onto my Kindle or something. That is gonna be the final book in the Powerless series. I know that one's coming out in April, I think, this year. Enchantra, that's Phantasma, that's the second book there. And then finally, the second book in the Immortal Dark series. The name and cover hasn't come out yet, but it's supposed to release in October. If you don't know what Immortal Dark is, that is like dark academia meets vampires, and it is so good.
Yeah, I haven't read that series, so I mean, make it sound interesting, but for me, yeah, everything you said, I'm waiting for it too. I've read all those series and I'm just waiting on them, and then I was sitting here thinking, like, what else is there coming out? And I can't think of a single thing, but like literally all the books you listed are the ones I'm also waiting for. But I'm very excited, and I've been waiting to pre-order the Onyx Storm book just because I'm like, okay, what other editions are coming out? I don't want to wait too long, but
I just found out, I pre-ordered my book months ago. There is a new edition from Target, and it's got like cool sprayed edges also, but it's also got like it's got a colored map and all this other stuff, and you can't pre-order it from Target. You have to get it like in stores.
Wow.
So that's kind of upsetting. And she just told us about it like 2 weeks ago.
I think I saw that, and then that kind of like reconfirmed my thing. I was like, oh, the longer I wait, maybe more will come. Because, you know, you get your, you know, Target editions, Walmart editions, Barnes & Noble edition, Books A Million. Like, they all have something. So I just am worried about waiting too long, and then I'm not going to get the one I want. You know, it's a gamble. It really is. Yeah. So, but
and then I get like FOMO, especially when House of Flame and Shadow came out. That's the third book in the Crescent City by Sarah J. Maas. There were so many different editions with different chapters in them from different point of views of characters. And it was like some from indie bookstores, some from Barnes & Noble, Walmart, Target, all had these different chapters. And I had so much FOMO. I was like, I can't buy 10 of the same books. Like, I cannot do that.
God, yeah, what a money-making scheme, honestly.
I know,
like,
right?
If you want all these chapters, you have to buy the same book 3-4 different times to get them all. And it's like, oh, calm down. But, yeah.
And then you wait like 10 days, and then someone will post it on Reddit or something, and I'll just sit there and read them all.
So, you can't have everything.
Yeah.
At least not at once.
I know. We threw up a little poll on our stories where we asked you guys what new releases y'all wanted to read. Yes. A big one from y'all was Scythe and Sparrow. So that is from a couple people on here. So that's from Katie Cat 1214, Caitlin, my friend, love ya. And then Han reads books. She also said Scythe and Sparrow. She also said King of Envy by Anna Huang. She also wrote the Twisted Love series, so I guess this is another series. And then Phantom by H.D. Carlton. Is that the person that wrote Haunting Adeline?
Yes, it is. Yeah. And then we got That Mama Book Nook said, Atmosphere, Onyx Storm, Great Big Beautiful Life, Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil, and Say You'll Remember Me. That was a long one. I'm glad you have so many to look forward to. That is a good 2025. Like, you are booked. But yeah, those are like the main ones that I see. Definitely lots of Scythe and Sparrow. So many of those.
Another Onyx Storm. And then the last one, Kimmy Sue's X33 says Abby Jimenez's new book. I don't know what it is because I haven't really gotten into that author yet. But I guess she's writing a new romance novel this year.
No, that's so exciting. I love new releases. It's so excited to, like, be excited. Like,
I know.
Exciting to be excited for, you know, new releases. So,
and like with Onyx Storm, we have been waiting for this book because McCayleigh and I read the first 2 books in our book club back in February or March of last year. Mm-hmm. We've been waiting almost a year for Onyx Storm, and I have been reading so many theories about it, but I don't want to get caught up in the theories because I got caught up in the theories of House of Flame and Shadow. If you know, you know. And
yeah.
So I am just trying to stay away from theories, but it's so hard. Yeah. Maybe we should do an episode about Onyx Storm once we both read them.
Of course.
Like in February or something.
Yeah, of course. Heck yeah. No, that'll be popping too. Everyone wants to talk about
Yeah.
and read Onyx Storm. That's like gonna be so crazy.
popular.
Yeah, so popular.
I think that Onyx Storm would be like a 5-star read for me, hopefully. And then I think Immortal Dark, the second book there, would also be like a 5-star read.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I guess like my fear is that when I'm like really excited for something and I'll have like high expectations for it.
Yeah.
Especially this book, Onyx Storm. So I'm really scared that if it doesn't live up to every single one of my expectations,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be upset. And like I don't want to,
Yeah.
and I hate that I'm hard like that. Like, oh, I'm so hard to impress, which most of the time I'm not. But for Onyx Storm, I'm like so ready, and
Mhm.
I just hope I'm not gonna be underwhelmed, because right now
Yeah.
I just have so many things that I want to happen in this book, and
Yeah.
I want to see how they're happening. Like, my boy Zayden, like, God, I'm so ready.
There's just so much that could happen in that third book. And she says it's supposed to be a 5-book series. And I'm just like, okay, Rebecca, what's gonna happen like for the next 2 books then? Like, what's happening?
I really
I'm
hope...
like, is this a Tamlin situation?
Please no.
Hope not. Please
no.
no.
Well, Tamlin was out of the picture by book 2, so we're approaching,
Yeah.
book 3. Hopefully, if it was going to happen, it would have happened in book 2. Fingers crossed. So
Yeah.
hopefully, we just save our boy's life here, and they end up happily ever after.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you have anything you want to reread at all this year?
Yeah, so for me, it's like really hard to justify rereading anything because there's
Yeah.
so many books that exist in the world. And that's like the way my brain, it just works. I'm like, I would love to reread something I loved, but
Mm-hmm.
my brain is just constantly telling me, why are you reading this when you could be reading
Something
the
new.
second Lightlark book, or
Yeah.
anything that you haven't read yet. But if there were anything that I would reread, it would definitely be like ACOTAR or Throne of Glass.
Mhm.
Probably ACOTAR more than Throne of Glass, just because it was more doable in terms of like
Yeah.
reading, understanding. The world building wasn't so tough to get. So I feel like that one I could definitely reread, and I might, and I think I should, because hopefully SJM, Sarah J. Maas, our girl, our queen, will have announced her newest ACOTAR book by then, and then I'll be ready. Like it'll be fresh on my mind. So please announce it, Sarah J. Maas.
Yeah.
Please.
No, I agree. There are so many great books that I just want to reread. I
Yes.
want to read this year, sorry. I agree, it's hard to justify rereading something rather than reading something new, but I've made it a goal this year. I want to reread Throne of Glass, at least Throne of Glass. ACOTAR maybe, but Throne of Glass is like my little baby, and I
Yes.
read it 2.5 years ago.
Wow.
So I definitely want to read it again.
Oh my god. No, that's awesome.
Yeah, and hopefully we get some more news from Miss SJM about all the series.
Please.
But take your time at the same time. Take your time.
Oh, she is. She has taken her
Don't
time.
rush. But...
No, let it out. Let it out now. Quit taking your time. It's been too long. Okay, so for 2025, you've already mentioned it, but I am so excited for you to read Game of Thrones. And
Yes.
I want you to read that so bad this year. And I would love, I've read the first book of Game of Thrones, and I would love to co-read that with you.
Yes.
Because, I've
Oh
already
my
read
gosh,
the
we
first one,
should.
and I have the
Yeah.
audible version. I, ended up getting, halfway through the second book, and then life got busy. And this was before I was, really into reading. So it was before ACOTAR and everything, and then I just kind of, forgot about it. But I would love to get back into it. I would love to rewatch the show.
Yes.
I have friends on Instagram, and they, post every year. They're annual rewatch of Game of Thrones. And I'm
Aw.
I am obsessed. I would watch that show in the shower. I brought my phone with me.
My gosh.
And it actually never ended. My roommates made fun of me for it. And
Aw.
I was like, it's okay. It's so worth it. No one gets it. I was the only 1 out of 5 people who lived in my house who watched the show, and they were all like, what are you doing? But it was so good. So you need to jump on that fast, soon.
Very, excited to read it. We should definitely co-read it. That would be so fun, and we can talk about it on the pod.
I have so
But
many good things to say. Like, oh my
yes, if I was to recommend a book series for McCayleigh to read this year, Cassandra Clare. And she used to be super popular. She's not talked about a lot now, but she wrote all these amazing series. Like the first one that I read is called the Mortal Instrument series. I saw a TikTok about it, and it made me think about McCayleigh. It was saying how there was an event that happened like in the one of the last books, and how it was a canon event for everyone growing up. And I was like, oh my god, it was. McCayleigh needs to experience this.
Oh my god. Wait, is this the book that you mentioned a few episodes back about the brother and the sister being love interest? Okay, is that book?
Yeah.
I was like, is it the Mortal Instruments and Mortal Instruments? But no, I was like, what's it called? Okay, I'm gonna remember that. That's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, and if y'all don't know what it is, it's a young adult fantasy series. Like, there's magic and all these cool things going on. But I've reread them like a million times, and I want to like buy the new like copies of them. They're just so good. I recommend them to everyone.
Oh my gosh. Well, yes, I will dive into that for sure.
Yay!
I'm excited. But anyways, tell me about your goals this year. I want to hear your personal goals and your Instagram goals and any other goals that you might have for like our podcast and things.
For my personal bookstagram, I would love to hit 5,000 followers on there. I'm so close. I'm at like 3.5 right now, and I started it like back in March of last year. And I love connecting with people on there and making all these new bookish friends. So I'd love to hit 5,000 followers on there. For the podcast, I would love to get 1,000 streams, watches, all of that fun stuff.
Yes.
So hopefully, and create merch. We have made mock-ups, but we don't have anything official. Yeah.
That's so exciting. At this rate, I think we're gonna get to 1,000 streams for sure. Like,
knock on wood.
Like, knock on wood. But at the rate we're going, we are looking really good. And for you, like the 5,000 followers, like you're gonna hit that so fast. I think.
Hopefully.
I'm like, girl, yours just grew like super recently. I think when we started the podcast, I feel like it grew a lot more too.
I'm just very consistent on it. I post every single day. There's not a day that I miss. I create stuff. Like, I've got a Canva Pro membership. That thing has paid for itself. I am on Canva once a day at least. I'm always on there for Instagram or for my podcast.
That is so awesome. Yeah, the podcast, you keep us up and running for sure. You're the heart of the podcast for sure. So everything you see on Instagram, 99% chance is probably Haley. All the comments too. I'm like, you don't even need to say who's answering people's comments. She'll go like hyphen from Haley. And I'm like, it's all Haley. But yeah, for me, I'd also like to hit 5K follows. I'm like, you got like at least 1,000 more followers than I do. But I think I have a longer way to go. But that would be nice. I like followers.
Yes.
I like big numbers.
Yeah.
Yes. And then I would like to create and post more content for the Forgotten Isle saga. And I mean, I have, the new book in the series coming out. And so I really want to get better about posting more about those books and just, creating excitement and, the marketing aspect for that. So I got to get into that. And then, I think our podcast channel is just growing so much. And I'm very excited. I think we'll hit that 1,000 streams before the end of the year. It's totally doable.
We will hope.
Yes.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
Yes.
But yes, and we have an announcement to make, guys.
Yes. Before we go, we do want to announce our book club read for our Facebook group. I want to start getting like better at this so people aren't like surprised when we put in the caption like plus this discussion. So for the month of January, we are reading The Courting of Bristol Keats by Mary E. Pearson. I have read all of her books before. She is like a young adult fantasy author. One of my favorites. Maybe we could do like a full episode about it because I've heard so many amazing things. So we'll see.
I was gonna say her name sounds so familiar. I bet if I like pulled up a cover
like all of these books
book.
down here, that's all her books that I've got. So she She's amazing. I love her. And also, I don't know if this will happen, but I've talked to her before, like in Instagram DMs.
Okay, Miss Influencer.
I would love to get her on the podcast.
Manifest
I am
it.
manifesting,
It's
yes. I believe, this is my thing. I believe if you put it out in the world, it'll happen. Like, I made like a little like template for all the goals that I want to reach this year, like personally, and I posted it everywhere. I was like, I believe if I put it out there, I'm manifesting that it'll happen.
Oh my gosh.
So hopefully
It will. It will.
yes.
I love that. But yes, I would love to do that.
But yeah, that's a wrap on today's episode, guys, of Two Chicks and a Plot Twist. We hope you enjoyed hearing our thoughts about our 2025 TBR list. We would love to hear what you guys thought about this. So just send us a message or comment on our socials.
Yes, thank you guys so much for listening and supporting us. If you're interested in being a guest on our podcast, check out our Instagram or Facebook at Two Chicks and a Plot Twist. There is a sign-up form in our link tree.
You can follow me on my Bookstagram at Haley's.books.
And you can follow me on my Instagram at
Because
McCayleigh
I say Bookstagram because I have had some people try to follow like my personal account, and I never post on there. I just have had it since like middle school. So I'm like, this is my Bookstagram. I post on it every day.
That is so funny. Yeah, I just ended up combining both of mine. So I don't know if it'll help me in the end or work against me. So I'll be an author forever because it's my personal Instagram. I just kind of converted into we're on Bookstagram now.
I love that.
So, but yeah, you guys can follow me on Instagram at McCayleigh Daniels.
Join us for our next episode. We are doing a breakdown of Sarah J. Maas's series, Throne of Glass. If you've been here for a while, you will know this is one of our favorite series of all times. I am so excited for this one.
Yes, we have been talking about doing this episode since we started our podcast.
I'm so excited. I can't wait for you guys to hear it.
Yes, and you can expect a podcast episode from us every Thursday. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.